Hello and welcome to Century Point. In this one, we have two very interesting players to watch, Lucian and Zlo. I'm sure everybody knows Zlo and everybody knows Lucian, so no introductions, but Cybern on Cybern should be interesting. Century Point, a map that's made it recently to the ladder. And it's quite interesting, but I think the gameplay, unless you go to the middle to get this mass, which is so close, you're going to lose. So it's really a battle over the middle, and then it's a battle over map control, because there's a lot of mask structures which are spread out, and they're spread out so evenly that a little bit of map control gives you a little extra mask structures, but the early battle will be over the middle. Some of the build orders that do involve very quick ACU to the middle, or a very quick engineer to the middle, and that's usually combined with scouts, so you figure out what the other player is going to do. And these hydras, two hydras which are close by, are also something to consider. And it appears that Zlo is actually going to use the ACU to get that hydro fast. Never want to build a hydro with a single engineer, so if you're going to build it. And it does appear that Lucian is going to do the same thing. Lucian also using an engineer to expand. And threefold symmetry here. We see that there's three equivalent positions in terms of the defense from the civs, three deck 1 point defenses, some anti-air directly in the middle. And is nearly done with the Hydra. Let's see who finishes the Hydra first. I think this might actually be identical. Yep, one pigeon each, then to the Hydra. And then straight to land. So no air yet. But Zlo a little more aggressive with the engineers to the middle to get the mass, while Lucian is a little more aggressive at grabbing the expansions. And in both cases you might get raided. But you can see Lucian putting a lot of emphasis on defending his expanding engineers. He's not really going after the reclaim. That might cost him. And where did this engineer go that was just here? I think, yep. Zlo got a little too close to these civilians. You can steal some of this mass, but you have to be very careful. So first kill goes to the civs. Some manti going to the top, and that's actually one good thing about not getting expanding engineers early on to the sides, is you don't have to defend them. Zlo hasn't had to defend him, but Zlo has total coverage. He knows exactly where Lucian is in terms of getting to the middle, and what he's going to find out is at the ACU for Lucian. That was really good timing on that engineer. Just built that mass extractor. This will give Lucian a clue that somebody was here, and he's also going to see that the mass is missing. So Lucian with significant advantage in terms of mass income. But only 18 reclaimed, while 750 reclaimed by Zlo. And a difference of 10 mass, of course, to get 750. It takes 70 seconds to get that difference in reclaim. And we've had 70 seconds go by. So I think in the long run here, Lucian will have the advantage. And also Lucian, if he gets a little bit of artillery, he can break through. There's still huge amounts of reclaim left over, and also a couple of these chunks that can be gotten without breaking the point defenses. Both players sending significant manti forces to the bottom, and I have not seen a single Medusa, which is significant. But Zlo, two hydros, now getting an air factory, sitting on 4 land factories. 5th land factory coming up for Lucian, no plans for air, and only now getting the hydro. And in terms of numbers, 5 versus 3, but a whole bunch coming in with support. It'll be fairly even numbers. Zlo with a significant force going to the top, and Zlo. Lucian here with ACU, I gotta say, it's a little disappointing. All he's done is kill that mass extractor. Zlo with a victory on the top. Two ACUs shooting at each other. And Zlo retreating on the bottom side. Very similar numbers. Looks like Lucian's unit's a little more bunched up on an attack move. and then switch to a move order. Zlo will attempt to bunch up his Manti, and you can see that is much better in terms of firepower. A lot more organization for Zlo there. Lushan, you never want to give move orders with Manti that are far away from where they are. But a mistake from Zlo, he lets one Manti through. It'll that mistake will not be taken advantage of by Lushan. This Mantis decided to run back and get killed instead of killing engineers. I gotta say, early on, a lot more Manti, it seems, for Zlo, and it's gotta be that he got that reclaim. He was able to use it a little quicker. Finally, a Medusa is taking out point defenses as a fake point defense for Lushan. I'm not sure if Zlo will fall for it. Maybe Zlo would have probably seen it, and now when he gets closer and sees that he's not getting shot, he'll be alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on 5. Should be a victory for Lushan. And a real point defense here for Lushan. Well, map controller is now dead even. But we'll see who grabs the middle. I gotta say, this dynamic in this game is a little different from some of the ones I've seen. Is that they are kind of ignoring the middle. So all those predictions I made early on are not really coming true. Very similar numbers. 3 Manti each. Looks like Lushans have just a little more health. And an engineer here as well. 2 on 2, and I think it'll be 1 Mantis left. Actually 2 Manti left. That engineer could have really helped. And a gesture now for Zlo. And I think one thing I'd like to ask, I know with Zlo we can do commentaries and questions. We've done that on Mumble. Perhaps after this game, either Lushan or Zlo, if they want to say more than just something in the comments, if they want to discuss parts of this game, it could make a really good follow-up video. So if they're interested, let me know. You can get a Mumble and maybe focus on a few parts. Maybe better than casting the entire game. So they can say at what point they thought they had an advantage, what they were thinking. But very even numbers everywhere. But it does look like Zlo is getting the advantage. Also plenty of engineers that are going to take advantage here. A lot of reclaim. See some attack moves. And Lushan, a bit disappointing. He's going to have to do something here with this reclaim. And civilians helping out Lushan. This engineer did not die. Lushan definitely does not want to kill that anti-air turret. It's protecting him quite well. We're looking at the bases. We're seeing a total of 7 land factories. And a total of 7 land factories coming in with the 8th for Zlo. Zlo also getting a point defense directly in the middle. And we've gradually seen the forces for both players turn into Medusas. Early on it was all Manti. Now we're seeing a significant amount of Medusas, especially from Zlo. You see quite a few flak from Lushan, not surprisingly. And now numbers for Lushan, but there's a point defense very well placed from Zlo. If Zlo can get Lushan to follow him, Zlo needs to retreat immediately to get Lushan to follow. Does not want to fight without using his point defense. And the Medusas for Zlo running past the fake point defense. Lushan trying to get an upgrade. Interesting to see. Let's see, a minus 280, that is the gun. Lushan is going for the gun. Actually here the Medusa shooting over the little ridge, getting a couple kills. Zlo really loves his Medusas. He does great things with them. And a factory. Both players having a factory in this expansion. You gotta say Zlo may be a little better positioned, but a lot more units for Lushan. Zlo also getting an advantage up on top. And overall it seems that Zlo 2200, only 1500 for Lushan. Zlo seems to have many more units on the field, and now the Medusas are going to take care of the rest of the point defenses in the middle, as Lushan has the opportunity to get a few thousand mass, although rushing in, letting the civs get a whole bunch of kills, as we're seeing a major battle unfold. Manti on Manti, reinforcements. Lushan also with a little bit of air, but definitely a big air advantage to Zlo. Both players trying to break the civs Here, minute 9. And Lushan nearly done with the gun. He's going to have to make that really count because he is slowly losing this battle. Although, okay, this explains it. He's got a Tech 2 mask extractor. That is the reason why he has less units. But now he does have an advantage. Well, he did for a little while in terms of production. Oh, and the Medusas. This Medusa is a hero here. The Medusas for Zlo not paying attention. Although now they did. They countered. And it looks like the middle will belong to Zlo. That will be a huge prize. I think Lushan really not putting enough emphasis on the middle. He did send a bunch of engineers that died, but he needs to send more. Actually, both players need to go and get that mass. Capital Manti for Lushan, denying any mass extractors up top. On the bottom, we're now seeing a couple more Medusas for Lushan. For the most part, Manti for Zlo. And these Medusas using their range. Pick off bunched up units. Actually, a couple of Medusas there as well. And battles everywhere. And now Lushan with the gun will go into the middle. And I think with that gun, he may be able to secure the middle to get all that mass. But big problems for Lushan up on top. It looks like a counterattack that there's nothing in the way of something like 15 Manti that will go directly into Lushan's base. Lushan needs to do something about it. He needs to react because there's a lot of power storage in that position. Tech 2. So the ACU for Zlo has gone with Tech 2 point defense. Not a very good placement. They are going to be hitting land here for the most part. Yep. They don't like to shoot uphill. Meanwhile, another victory for Zlo on the bottom. That will give him a lot of reclaim. Looks like Lushan in time to save his power storage and hydro. That's countered. Zlo is going to retreat. As Zlo is going to continue a Tech 2 point defense creep that will eventually go into Lushan's base. Zlo also attacking multiple point defenses for Lushan. But Zlo with Medusas, as Lushan cleaned up on a lot of mass. He's got a huge power advantage, and he's got 1,000 mass in the bank. Zlo, no mass in the bank, and power is just enough. So Lushan has some opportunities to do something in this stage. He does not have map control, but he does have a slightly better economy. So perhaps Tech 2 land, or I don't know if he's going to make any more Tech 2 mass extractor or strong air. He does have the gun on the ACU, which he's using. It looks like he might use the ACU to win the bottom part, to win back map control, but he doesn't really have an answer to this Tech 2 point defense creep, which will eventually go into his base. Now he's got Tech 2 land, mobile missile launchers, and that will be the answer. So it looks like ACU for Lushan will get map control, while Tech 2 land will play defense against Zlo's Tech 2 point defense creep. Although this is not just a point defense creep, this is also a pretty massive Tech 1 land attack. See a lot of units retreating for Lushan. Lushan going around the strong point. He can send a couple of units, deny a lot of map control. Did Zlo do any upgrades yet? Doesn't look like. Gotta say on this map, the T2 point defense for Cybern, not very good because they really need the perfect line of sight. And the ones that are in the distance, they keep on hitting the ground. This one is in a pretty good position. Meanwhile, Lushan doing all kinds of damage. Mobile missile launchers. And so far it does look like Lushan playing quite well here. And somehow Zlo is losing power. I'm not really sure how, but he's not doing very well on power. Lushan nearly doubling, and that could be very significant. Bunch of Tech 1 still rolling through. This Tech 2 point defense needs to do a lot of damage, and I think it will. Meanwhile, Lushan really cleaning out this whole area. He's now got engineers. He's going to be able to reclaim a whole bunch. And still a problem though for him. And let's check out the reclaim. I actually didn't check that. Lushan at 5,000. Zlo at 6,400. So a little more for Zlo. And these Tech 1 units for Lucian getting a little too close to the Tech 2 point defense. Good move from Zlo. He's just going to move his ACU directly into Lucian's base. He's going to do as much damage as possible. Tech 1 point defense going up for Lucian. See how much that does. And Lucian now is going to come back home to play defense. He has secured this area. Couple sneaky Manti. It's always a good idea. As Zlo goes down to half health. Retreats, will play safe. Bad micro on these mobile missile launchers. Also some Tech 2 flak. Yeah, this is a big waste of those mobile missile launchers. I think maybe a couple hoplites or rhinos. I'm not sure about rhinos here because the ground's so flat. But some Tech 2 units to counter the Tech 1. We are going to see Tech 2 point defenses. Lucian might not be able to make it in time. And you can see the Manti being used as engineers by Zlo. Lucian in the process of losing the base. You might feel like things are going bad, but on paper at least, his eco is pretty good. And now he's coming in. If he can survive this, he'll be in decent shape, but he does need to secure the lower expansion. This is what his ACU fought for, and he really needs to make that count. A lot of firepower here for Zlo. A lot of Medusas, so Lucian's base disappearing very quickly. Lucian losing some power, Zlo catching up on power. And Zlo now actually surpassing Lucian. There's also a Tech 2 mask structure here. Lucian does not want to lose that. Lucian getting hit quite hard. 45 kills. Any Tech 2 point defenses completed here yet? Doesn't look like it. And these Manti did a great job denying a whole bunch of mask structures. Denied 4 mask structures. Lucian 53 kills. Factories going down. More point defenses for Zlo. And I think if Lucian was able to defend against that Tech 2 point defense creep, he would have been in good shape, but it was very well done by Zlo. And a couple micro mistakes from Lucian. Using his mobile missile launchers not in a good way. A couple mobile missile launchers out of range. That's all he needed. Maybe a couple other Tech 2 units to defend against the Tech 1. But with an enemy ACU in your base, it does make it quite difficult. Lucian now significant power disadvantage versus Zlo. There's a Hydra here that should be completed. That will be a big boost to Lucian. And is Lucian talking about how he hates the PD creep? Well, PD creep is one of the most obvious things on this map. Lucian, 80 kills, getting hit by a lot of point defenses. And I'm not sure if he wants to stand there for that long here. Minute 17. Kills 1 point defense. There's a lot of reclaim for him. And more raiding groups from Zlo, although Tech 2 point defense here for Lucian, 13 kills. Might not be able to cut out all the attacking units. Lucian, 86 kills, going very low on health. He needs to retreat. And Zlo with a significant map control. He is able to recover on the left side. He's grabbed the middle. And his constant raiding has really put Lucian back. Still no Tech 2 mask extractors from Zlo. And no Tech 2 in this area, so eventually the Tech 1 will overwhelm. Lucian now realizing he doesn't really have much hope because he's about to lose his HQ to a Tech 2 point defense creep. So successful Tech 2 point defense creep from Zlo. Great win. Hopefully people enjoyed this one.